end the show on a very disturbing note. Latest opinion polls results released by NOIPolls has revealed that about 5 in 10 Nigerians have expressed dissatisfaction over the government's handling of the crisis between the farmers and the Fulani herdsmen across some north-central states of the country. Bell Ihua, the CEO at NOIPolls, joins us now to discuss this story. Bell, thank you so much for joining us. And I think in your report, you've put this as something that could potentially escalate into a national crisis if not properly managed. So what can we gauge from the poll that you have conducted in terms of how people are feeling about the government's reaction?
Thank you very much, Wale. I think first things first, is important to lay some foundation. So the issue of conflicts between herdsmen and farmers are not new. A report released in 2013 by the Human Rights Watch revealed that between 2010 and 2013, over 3,000 people had been killed by conflicts between Fulani herdsmen and farmers. So it's not new, but I think the major issue that came up in the press lately was the issue of the Agatu killings and the Agatu conflicts that led to over 500 deaths. And we tried to conduct a poll to assess the impact of what government is doing and if people think the government is acting enough. Unfortunately, 5 in 10 Nigerians, about 50%, think that government has not done enough to respond to the conflict. They would have been expecting a quicker response, especially to the recent issues of the Agatu killings, but that wasn't seen. And our findings actually supports or ties into what some other report by an organization called GAIN found, where they showed that 79% of those they interviewed for their poll rated the government very poorly on the handling of the crisis between the Fulani herdsmen and the farmers.
Right. I don't know to what extent you can comment on this, because like you did say, note in your report, this is something that could escalate into a national crisis. Do you think that we're close to that? Because obviously this issue has been grabbing the headlines recently.
Absolutely, if it's not curbed. But that's why we think the government is in line now that have risen up to say, okay, we are going to send the military into the areas and we're going to call for the dialogue. And I think these were the key findings when we asked Nigerians, what do you think should be done? First of all, dialogue was a major issue, that the Fulani herdsmen should be called to order, and also the farmers, they should bring them together to discuss. But besides that, there's been a persistent issue of providing grazing reserves so that the Fulani herdsmen can have where their cattle can graze, where they can have access to water. It's very important that these are properly managed, because indeed, if it's not called the spiral effect, of course, we will not forget that there are 2 major stories to this. One is the fact that media people often say it's the issue of cattle rustling, and because of cattle rustling, Fulani herdsmen get angry and agitated and come back for reprisal attacks. The other is farmers who say we plant our produce, and before we know what is happening, Fulani herdsmen invade our farms with their cattle. Whatever the case, the issue is that Nigerians need governments to respond quick to these issues so that further lives and properties are not destroyed.
Right. I mean, this is one of several social issues that obviously are being reported, and it'll be interesting to get a poll on the popularity of the government at this point, because beyond this, as you know, everyone is dealing with the energy crisis, the fuel shortage. When can we expect a poll on the popularity of this government?
That's our job. That's what NOIPolls does. We have been polling monthly since this government came into power, and we'll be releasing a report soon when the government marks a year anniversary. You can look out for that. We'll be giving you snippets once the poll is out.
All right, we certainly would be looking out for that. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Bell Ihua, the CEO of NOIPolls.